I'm pretty convinced we've figured out what's really happening here and what the exact strategy might be, because just look at Bitcoin. It honestly feels like it's about to take off any moment now. The only odd thing is that Bitcoin is actually underperforming at the moment. It's falling behind quite a bit, which tells me one of two things. Ready for this? I think I'm about to reveal the plan. Usually with Bitcoin we expect certain price zones to act as strong support or resistance. Right now Bitcoin is just hanging out in this range, waiting to pick a direction, either up or down. But from the looks of it, it really seems like it's gearing up for a breakout. The next major resistance is around $111,000, and that would trigger a massive liquidity grab. Just look at all the liquidity piled up there. It's huge. So no doubt they'll aim for that eventually. On the other hand, XRP is seriously trailing behind. It's actually dropping compared to Bitcoin, which signals that XRP is underperforming badly. But here's the catch. This won't last forever. At some point XRP will turn around and outperform Bitcoin big time, pushing XRP to new all-time highs. The big question is, when? Will it happen today? Tomorrow? Sooner rather than later? My guess is that XRP, or the Spitcoin as some call it, will keep dropping for a bit longer, likely creating a bullish divergence. Once that divergence forms, only then will XRP start climbing toward those new highs. Right now Bitcoin is where it is, and XRP should be above $3, but isn't because it's lagging behind. It's pretty wild. The key thing is that XRP's price action is being influenced by outside factors, which explains the current drop. But if XRP can hold the $2.36 level, we'll see several bullish divergences confirmed on the hourly and 4-hour charts, and even on the 12-hour chart. That would mean XRP is ready to gobble up all the liquidity left behind earlier. Don't forget that liquidity is still waiting to be captured. It might happen today, tomorrow, or even weeks from now, but eventually it will happen, and XRP will catch up with Bitcoin and then take off. At the end of the day, XRP's next moves depend a lot on what Bitcoin does, because it's basically following Bitcoin's lead. We'll dive deeper into all of this in today's video. And honestly, the market looks pretty bullish overall. You might be wondering why all this is happening. Aside from the buying activity, which Ashley will break down shortly, if the trend continues and Judge Torres's recent decision to reject the party settlements is actually bad news, then we should expect some really positive developments in the coming week or so. Maybe a new partnership or even another acquisition. It's exciting to think about. There's this idea that usually when there's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, good news tends to follow soon after. It's kind of strange but true. Right now, with the case stirring up some FUD, this theory seems to fit perfectly. So if Bitcoin can reach around $110,000 soon, XRP could suddenly surprise everyone with some unexpected news coming out of nowhere. We might see it shoot up to $3.10 or even break its all-time high at $3.40 before we really start analyzing what's next. Bitcoin looks strong, and that gives me a lot of hope. Johnny Deaton mentioned that today was a bit of a curveball, and I think he might be right. Maybe things aren't as bad as they first seemed. The judge could have easily said, "You're really messing this up, it's a Rule 60, but I'm not going to make you refile and jump through hoops because the remedy is what matters." Instead, she did the opposite. She pointed out that the heavy burden hadn't even been discussed properly. So what does this all mean? If I were the judge, I'd probably take a neutral, hands-off approach. I'd think the government wants one thing, the private company another, and they've reached an agreement. The law, she found, was broken mostly involves banks, hedge funds and big institutional investors, smart players who don't really have victims here. The real victims are the XRP holders, who've been hurt by the SEC's nonsense throughout this whole case. I already ruled in their favor, so I'd just approve the settlement and move on. But she didn't do that. I think part of the reason is sheer frustration and anger at the SEC, and that makes sense. This case has tied up her courtroom and staff for 5 years. It feels like the SEC wanted an easy way out after dragging this case on for so long. They probably thought, let's just settle this, but the judge isn't having it. During the summary judgment motion there were thousands of exhibits. She even referenced affidavits from XRP holders, showing how involved we were. Think about all the time, energy and resources this judge has invested. Then suddenly the SEC tries to say, forget all that, let's reduce the fine and ignore the injunction we fought hard for. The judge is basically saying, not so fast, she's making sure they do their job properly. Putting ourselves in her shoes, she found the law was broken and acted accordingly. Now they want her to ignore that. She's demanding a valid reason, and rightfully so. You can't just stroll in and say, "Oops, we changed our minds, please approve this," and expect the judge to go along with it. That's exactly what the judge is telling the SEC and Ripple. No automatic approvals here. She's making it clear they need to build a strong case showing that lifting the injunction is truly in the public's best interest. In her ruling, she specifically pointed out that the public shouldn't be harmed if the injunction is removed, so they've got to convince her of that before she considers lifting it. This is a crucial detail to keep in mind because it's really shaping what's happening behind the scenes. Now this whole situation seems to be creating a kind of delay or drag on XRP's movement, and it actually makes sense when you connect the dots. Believe it or not, XRP appears to be under some form of protection right now, which is surprising because many expected XRP to crash hard today. But that didn't happen, and here's why. Bitcoin acted like an older sibling watching over XRP. If Bitcoin had dropped in the last few hours, XRP would have likely collapsed along with it, especially since XRP was already losing ground against Bitcoin. The XRP to Bitcoin ratio was falling fast. Had Bitcoin fallen, XRP's value in USD terms would have taken a serious hit. But since Bitcoin pumped instead, XRP didn't crash as badly as it might have otherwise. So right now we should actually be thankful for Bitcoin's rise, and hope it continues all the way to $111,000, which is the next big resistance level. If Bitcoin doesn't keep pumping and instead dumps, XRP will likely die or crash. That's the game plan unfolding here. I have to give props to the judge for not letting the SEC off the hook easily. They're not going to get a free pass just because they brought this case. On the bright side, this could be the spark for some bullish momentum that XRP needs. That bullish push might be exactly what saves XRP, because remember, XRP's pairing with Bitcoin is really struggling right now. On top of that, $1 billion USDT was minted recently, and then another $1 billion just today, all within the last 24 hours. That's a massive influx of liquidity, which is likely fueling Bitcoin's current pump, and could be the reason it's gearing up for a big move upward. Speaking of big moves, FTX plans to distribute $5 billion to creditors on May 30th. Think about what kind of impact that might have. This is one of the reasons why XRP could hit new all-time highs fairly soon. There are really two paths XRP can take now. Either it dips a bit more before shooting up to new highs, or it follows Bitcoin's lead directly. If Bitcoin hits $110,000, XRP will likely surge along with it, especially with some unexpected good news tied to the pump. Right now Bitcoin holds the reins, so we shouldn't be bashing it. Once this flood of money hits the market, things are going to get wild. Larry Fink recently said the entire financial system is strong and stable, which adds to the bullish chatter. It's wild how much effort is being made to get people to sell XRP before the big pump even starts.